And that's where the master numbers come in. And this is where the 11 is a really important frequency, and where the Andromedan energy is very important, because for me, the Andromedan frequency is the beginnings of the remembrance that we're not human. None of us are human, and that we are all starseeds, all of us. We're all cosmic beings. Some of us have come here to have a more earthly human experience, and they wouldn't even be interested in this conversation. But there are some of us that really want to play that multidimensional game, and we've come here for it. And so the 11 frequency, and for me, those of us that hold Andromedan frequencies, I'm an 11-2 personality. I'm here to embody it. I'm here, like, for me, I am here to embody Andromedanism. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is a high frequency. It's very activational. It can be triggering. It can be illuminatory. It can awaken all the things that are connected to the 11. And the highest purpose of the Andromedans and the 11 are multidimensional cosmic peacekeeping from a sovereign place.
Welcome to the Numerology Show. My name is Hayden Crawford, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by a powerhouse in the world of transformational numerology, Katharine Kinnie. Now, Katharine is the founder of Kosmic Numerology, a multidimensional method that goes beyond traditional readings to activate your soul's highest potential. With offerings like power name activation, timeline shifting, and light body alignment, Katharine helps her clients align with their divine blueprint, unlock their mission, and create quantum shifts in every area of their lives. So this conversation will open your mind to the deeper energetic codes behind numbers, names, and timelines. So get ready to expand your consciousness. Welcome, Katharine. It's so lovely to have you here with me today.
Thanks, Hayden. It's lovely to meet you and be here with you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Katharine, can you explain, what cosmic numerology is and how it differs from conventional numerology systems, please?
Of course. So cosmic numerology is based upon Pythagorean numerology. So it's rooted in the origins of that. And a lot of the mathematics that I use and that I teach people to use to create a blueprint are connected to Pythagorean numerology. The way that I describe cosmic numerology is that it is an expansion upon Pythagorean numerology. And some of the main ways that I guess it differs or is an expansion is that most conventional Pythagorean numerologists or books or teachings will acknowledge numbers 1 to 9, and then the master numbers 11, 22, and 33. And you pick most numerology books off the shelf, and that's what they will cover and refer to. Cosmic numerology acknowledges all of the master numbers, which includes master numbers 44 to 99. So that's really, really important and significant in itself, because Pythagoras, who I understand to be like my main guide, and is a being that I feel has been guiding me and teaching me and helping and supporting me to bring through cosmic numerology. He says that cosmic numerology is kind of like Pythagorean numerology 3.0 or 3.3 or whatever you want to call it. It is an expansion pack for those of us that are ready to kind of dance with the master numbers. And also it is especially for people that have master numbers above 33 in their blueprint, that have loved ones or clients or friends that have these higher master numbers. I mean, it's for everyone, but what I find is, sometimes there are people that come to me for readings or for for my classes and my courses that do have these higher master numbers, and um, they need support, they need help, they need acknowledgement, they need validations. And then the other big way that cosmic numerology, I guess, is an expansion of Pythagorean numerology, is that I connect numbers with stars, star systems, specific galaxies as well. Now, again, this has all been, I guess, given to me, shown to me. I didn't read this in a book. I didn't even sit down and decide that I was going to figure it out. It has happened through a process of osmosis through my awakening, which happened at the end of 2012. It took my human a while to work out what the heck was going on. It was pretty overwhelming and confusing for my ego, my egoic self. But over the last kind of 12 years now, my human is kind of settled into and surrendered to, you know, this being part of my purpose and my service to be the custodian, the founder, the mama of cosmic numerology. But ultimately, it's not mine. Like, I'm here to take care of it and protect it and look after it and be responsible for it. But I say this to my students all the time, like, we are cosmic numerology. Like, cosmic numerology exists because of all my clients and my students, because they validate a lot of what I share. They have added, and because of the questions that they ask, it helps cosmic numerology to expand. And there's a lot more that I could say about what cosmic numerology is, but I think the other important nugget to share is based on the 5 major numbers that I acknowledge to exist in our blueprint. I've been shown, or I've received information that connects whatever number is in each location to some of our starseed kind of origins or heritage or experience before our souls kind of came here to experience life on earth in this lifetime. So it can, I can share information from a neurological perspective that could be connected to past lives that people have had here on earth, but also past lives that people might have experienced as non-human beings. So that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it, but I'm trying to, give you a nutshell answer.
Oh yeah, of course, I totally get that, and thank you very much for explaining, so succinctly about the differences. I mean, you've added a lot of information there already, which I want to delve deeper into, which is super exciting because I'm massively, into all things cosmic myself, so a large part of the work that I do as well is to, sort of be able to help people identify the galactic origins using the combination of numerology, color therapy, and astrology. So it'd be interesting to see, how these calculations are made, and and you being the custodian of this incredible system, it's very much needed, I would say, because of course, humanity is ascending, so of course, the more we evolve, everything else has to evolve as well. Otherwise, we just keep on in the same patterns and timelines and loops, right? So I can see how this system has come in, and it's incredible. So I guess my first question, based around what you've just said, then is the other master numbers that you're talking about. Could you like briefly sort of explain, what they are and what it means when somebody holds those as their master numbers, and how you calculate that as well within the birth chart? Do you do it in the traditional Pythagorean format?
Mm-hmm. So I'll actually answer the last bit of that first, and then I'll come back to the beginning. So, like I said, all the calculations that I do are based on Pythagorean numerology. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, and then I is 9, J is 1, K is 2, etc. So that's the decoding system that I use. And again, for anyone watching that is aware of Pythagorean numerology, the life path is calculated by adding all the numbers together. And I use Resolve All. Pythagoras has guided me to use Resolve All because, again, I know that A lot of people use different even calculation methods to get to people's numbers. But he says it's very important that you honor and acknowledge each number and each letter individually. And this is connected to the teachings of the one. And the one frequency is about honoring us as individuals and things separately. So Pythagoras has been very, very, very clear with me about resolve all. So really for life path number, it's very rare for someone to be a 44. It can happen. Avicii was a 44 life path, for example. He's probably one of the most famous, well-known people that well, he's not on Earth anymore, but when he was a 44 life path, and there's lots of teachings in that as well connected to his 44 life path. He wasn't able to master the 44 frequency, unfortunately, during his lifetime. But for all the other numbers, so the middle three are connected to the name, expression number from all of the letters in someone's name, heart's desire and soul's urge from the vowels, personality number from the consonants, and then divine soul's purpose, which some numerologists call maturity. Cosmic numerology calls it divine soul's purpose. And Pythagoras, again, has been very clear with me on that. These numbers, any of them, can be 44 plus. They can be between 1 and 9, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. I have come across one person who has a 111 as well. Now, where cosmic numerology differs is that most numerologists that aren't practicing cosmic numerology or aren't fully acknowledging master numbers above 33, if one of these numbers totaled a 44, for example, they'd acknowledge it as an 8. Or if one totaled a 55, they'd acknowledge it as a 1. Or a 66 would be acknowledged as a 3, a 77, a 5, an 88, a 7, a 99, a 9. And so for me, when I come across people that have these master numbers that are above 33, the way that I understand that is that they are particularly old and highly advanced souls. And so, if I'm giving a reading to someone that holds a number above 44, I will always tell them that most numerologists wouldn't be able to read that or acknowledge it or explain it or understand it. I always make sure that I really give them the acknowledgement about who they are at a soul level and how old they are and how advanced they are, because it's beyond even just being an old soul. It's about how advanced someone is. And when I'm teaching, in class or course, I will explain the meanings of these master numbers to people so that they can better understand themselves. But not everyone, I don't hold these in my birth blueprint. The highest master number I have is a 22. I'm a 22 life, but I hold a 22 and 11. And so I've had to go through a lot of really intense initiations to be able to understand and explain and acknowledge these master numbers for the souls and the humans that come to me, either for a reading or in my class. So that's kind of how I calculate it. In terms of what they mean, it's interesting because, again, one of the other things that's different about cosmic numerology versus, we'll call it conventional numerology for ease. I sometimes call it old Earth numerology, or I call it 3D numerology. I will explain the archetypal description of a number to someone using old Earth or 3D conventional explanation. Like 1 would be the independent leader, for example. The 2 would be the harmonious peacekeeper. The 3 would be the creative expressive communicator. The 4 would be the grounded builder. The 5 would be the free spirited adventurer, etc. So I use conventional 3D, earthly, grounded, what I would refer to as more old Earth descriptions. But then again, depending on where someone is, how advanced they are, how open they are, I will then teach and share and anchor what I feel are more important, more advanced descriptions, which are the more new earth descriptions of the numbers, which are more deeply rooted in cosmic numerology. So the one, for example, for me, represents the sovereign way shower and guide and seed planter and initiator of the new earth. The two would be the they are like the peacekeepers and the diplomats of the new earth. The threes are the messengers of the new earth. The fours are the builders of the new earth and the weavers of the new earth. The fives are the change agents of the new earth. The sixes are the space creators and holders of the new earth who create beautiful, healing, nurturing spaces of belonging for people to have healing experiences, whereas older people would say they are healers. And all of this is rooted in the one, which is all about sovereignty as well. So Pythagoras tells me that the foundations of the new earth are being anchored and built upon sovereignty and the one frequency. So everything else comes after that. So then when we get to, these higher master numbers, to answer your question, I'm still finding words and quick and easy ways to archetypally describe them. It was actually Lynn Buess's book that I read, The Heart of Numerology, back in, and I think he's already been a guest of yours. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he has actually. Yeah. So
yeah,
The Heart of Numerology, I
yeah,
got the book, after interviewing him because
yeah,
it was absolutely fascinating
mm,
the way he blends cosmology and numerology together.
yeah.
Really, really
So,
powerful.
so
Well,
that book, um, that was a really important book for me for helping. It was an activator for me, to help me bring cosmic numerology through, because his was the first book that I'd ever picked up or read that spoke about master numbers above 33. Um, and I talk about it whenever I'm teaching cosmic numerology, I always refer to him in that book. But there's even things that I've been given and I've been told about the master numbers that aren't in that book, if that makes sense. So it's like he again gave me some foundational information through his lens and filter connected to those master numbers above 33. And then I started to journey with that information and knowledge. And then I started to receive more puzzle pieces, etc. And an expansion of that as well, I guess. So, from a labeling perspective, I'm still finding a way to, actually name and refer to those. And because they're master numbers, for me, the energies, the frequencies, the meaning, the purpose of master numbers, and anyone that holds a master number anywhere in their blueprint, is very expansive. And so, like, for me, there's so much foundational explanation that is required that's connected to even the numbers that come before that master number and then the numbers that make up that master number from a teaching perspective. But like the 44, for example, for me, they are I'm still trying to find the right words, because it's like I haven't got to a point of like labeling it, and I might not even do that for the purposes of this conversation. Um, but I teach all of this in level 2. It's all there, but it's like, the 44 really is, they are like the cosmic multidimensional chiefs of the new earth that are here to give direction to the builders of the new earth and to organize the builders of the new earth. The 55 frequency is associated with I associate the 55 with the Merkaba, our light body vehicle. And really, the 55 for me represents people who are here to help and support us in relation to multidimensional travel and journeying. Help us to connect to our Merkaba, help us, travel to wherever we need to go in the cosmos, So the 5 is more about, 3D travel and 3D shifts and changes. The 55 is multi-dimensional travel and shifts and changes. And the same as the 5 can hold space for shifts and changes in the physical, the 55 can hold space for shifts and changes in the metaphysical and the multidimensional. But it's all rooted in sovereignty as well, because it's the 55/1. And then the 66 is really, it's the frequency of like the cosmic multidimensional mother and father, because it holds the energies of the 6, which is about the mother and the father and the children and like nurturing and the home. And the 66 is that on a cosmic multidimensional level. And people that hold 66s have the ability to help people feel more safe and more loved and more of a sense of belonging as starseeds and as, as cosmic beings. So they can hold just this phenomenal space. The 77 I associate with the Akash. So the 7 is connected to knowledge and wisdom and information. The 77, again, cosmic, multi-dimensional. Whenever the master number comes in, it takes everything off Earth. Has it become cosmic and multi-dimensional? So the 77 is the ability to connect in with cosmic, multi-dimensional knowledge and wisdom, information, which many of us would refer to as the Akash, and to be able to change it, because it's the 77/5. The 5 is associated with change. Those of us that hold 77s, a lot of us are here to share cosmic, multi-dimensional knowledge and wisdom, and to teach it and or receive it and study it. Again, this is it. These are numbers in a nutshell. The 88 are really the cosmic multidimensional law keepers. The 8 being associated with, law. I mean, on Earth, business and money and finance and energy. They're the cosmic multidimensional law keepers and energy masters. Very, very powerful beings. With lots and lots of really important knowledge and wisdom and information, again, to teach and share, because it's the 88/7. So that 7 energy is associated with the 8 and the 80, well, the 88. And then the 99 represents cosmic, multidimensional, unconditional love and kindness and compassion. So just the same as the 9 is here, really in a nutshell, to represent unconditional love of all beings, all humans, all creatures, great and small, all of nature, everything that we experience here on Earth. The 99 is here to teach and remind us of the importance of practicing unconditional love across all time, space, and dimension with all beings. Whether they've passed, whether they're coming, regardless of kind of what they've done on Earth. It's for me, it's the highest level of mastery from a master number perspective, cosmically, multidimensionally across time and space. And really, the way I teach this is that once we've mastered the embodiment of the themes of numbers 1 to 9, which I call the mortal numbers, we can then progress to embodying the mastery of the master numbers. But none of us can embody the mastery of any of the master numbers until we've embodied the mastery of numbers 1 to 9, and then 11, and then any other master numbers that come before whatever master number we hold in our blueprint, or whatever master number we're wanting to embody the mastery of. That makes sense. That's quite a long answer.
Brilliant. Well, that was really well done. You did great there. You had me riveted, because I'm like, oh, how exciting. What I want to know though, it's like where like when you've met these these master number people, do
Mm-hmm.
they give off a certain like feel about them, a certain aura? Do they have a presence about them? And
Mm-hmm.
are they sort of one step closer to becoming ascended masters, or are they ascended masters incarnate?
Okay, great questions. So, yes, I definitely have the ability to feel and tune. I can feel whether someone has a master number in their blueprint or not. That's the big one. And again, depending on how open that human and that soul is and how transparent they are at a soul level and how much time I spend with them, um, and how open and honest and authentic they are, I will then be able to normally tune into and feel into what numbers are present, what master numbers are present. And it's funny because I was saying to someone the other day, I think is synesthesia when you feel color? Is that what it is? I don't know. But I feel numbers. When I feel someone's energy and I am in the presence of someone at a soul level, and again, if they're open, I can feel their frequencies and then that immediately decodes into a number. Maybe I need to make up a word or to describe this because I don't think there is one. But maybe it's clair numeric or something like that. Because there's clairsentient and there's clair
I think
cognizant and
I
there's clair
reckon
audience.
cat maybe cat numeric or Catherine numeric would be better than Claire, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true, actually. But it's so I personally can definitely feel when someone has master numbers or not. And I can also sometimes feel if they have more than one or not. Again, it really depends on how authentic they're being. And I can teach this as well. Like some of my students know how to tune into that and know if they've spent time with someone, whether they've got a master number or not. Um, and then coming on to your other questions, just remind me. So one was, can you feel, what was the other
Well,
question?
it's just with representation of them being ascended, potential ascended masters. Are they
Okay, got
ascended
it.
masters incarnate?
Got it. Okay. So this is a really good question. I've never been asked that question before. Let me just tune in and find the right human words. Okay, so the way that I understand and interpret people that hold master numbers, especially if it's in their birth blueprint, my understanding is based on their soul's journey to date, they are coming in with a specific level of mastery. And people that hold master numbers, I understand and interpret to having a level of mastery that is beyond earth, beyond the earthly realm, beyond earthly experiences. Whether you would describe that as an ascended master incarnate, I don't know. But I refer to them as star elders. Those are the words that Pythagoras has asked me to use. Just the same as, and he says, just the same as we've got earth elders on the planet and people that have been here for 70, 80, 90, 100 years, they've been around the block, they've seen things. If you sit with an elder, they're going to be able to share knowledge and wisdom that a 5-year-old wouldn't have or a 10-year-old. But then there are also certain elders on the planet that might be holding original indigenous knowledge and wisdom, or they might have had more advanced experiences that not every elder has. Some people might be concert pianists, and it's not to say they're better than anyone else, but they've just reached a level of expertise and mastery in something, and that's what I apply to the master numbers, and especially those of us that are born with the master numbers in our birth blueprint. What I do say as well, because I don't want anyone to think less of themselves or limit themselves if their birth blueprint doesn't have a master number. Because, and I say this to my students a lot, I've seen people who were born with only mortal numbers, as I refer to them, and then they've changed their name or they then there's been a shift with their name and master numbers have come in, and I see that as reflective of the amount of work that they've done and how they've advanced at a soul level, because I feel that when we advance, whether it's before we get here or during our lifetime, especially if we're reaching multi-dimensional levels of mastery and embodying it as a human, I feel that it's highly likely that there will be a name change to reflect that, to then bring those master numbers in. And I have seen this quite a lot in readings that I've given. And then, yeah, in terms of ascended masters incarnate, I associate the 33 with Jesus Christ. I associate the 6 with Jesus, but the 33 with the Christ itself. But I also associate the 44 with Magdalene, with Mary Magdalene and Magdalene consciousness and Isis consciousness, which is more advanced than the 33. And this is part of my teaching, because Mary Magdalene had to be embodying a highly advanced multi-dimensional consciousness to be able to bring him back or see him or bear witness to his rebirth, if that makes sense. So, for me, my teachings are, and the guidance that I receive from Pythagoras, is that cosmic numerology is here to really support people, whether they're ascended masters or not, to be able to embody a very high level of mastery that perhaps not all humans were able to embody or have been able to embody in the past, and have left the planet for whatever reason. Pick your own ending. We all know the endings that have happened with highly advanced spiritual beings that hold a phenomenal amount of light. So that would be my answer to that question.
That's a great answer. It's very diplomatic and also
Mm.
very sort of yeah, nonchalant. I love it. Absolutely great.
Mm.
Now, how do people feel when they find out that they're like a 55 or a 66 or a 77? Is it a lot of responsibility for them to suddenly start taking on? Do they feel overwhelmed by it, that they've got a specific purpose in the new earth?
So what I say to everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people when I give readings or when I'm teaching this, is my understanding is that when I give someone a reading, I am just a humble decoder and messenger. Um, and really, my understanding is that I don't tell anyone anything that they don't already know at a soul level. And it's really just like when someone has a reading with me, it's going to be a remembrance for them. And it might be a more expansive remembrance than perhaps another numerologist may be able to give. Who knows? I know that there are some people that come to me who've had numerology readings before, and they've been great and they've loved them, but then they've come to me, and I know that if they've come to me, especially if they have a master number above 33, they're ready to go next level. And I said this to the universe early on. I was like, don't bring me anyone that's not ready. I don't want to waste any time with anyone that's not ready. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. So everyone that comes to me for a reading or comes to my classes or comes to study my courses, they're always crazy excited, falling over themselves, and they're ready. They're as ready as, I guess, their awareness allows them to be. So when I share this information with people, especially if they have a master number over 44, it's generally not news to them. It's normally a validation, a confirmation, an affirmation. Sometimes there's tears because I might be the first human that has ever been able to give human words and an explanation to what they've known and felt their whole life. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. I always do my best to tune in to where they are, and I read what's going on for them, and I will temper what I share, how much I share, how much detail I go into. I will only give or share as much as that person I feel can receive. Um, some people have a limit and, that's enough. And then other people just want to keep going. And I mean, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm here for it all. And so, if someone comes to me for a first reading, and I share that information with them, I give them and share with them as much as I feel they can handle. And I always pay attention to how much they already know about numerology, because if they already have a foundational understanding, I can go into more detail, I can go into more depth, I can go be more expansive. But my intention is to not fry the system or totally knock their socks off, or massively overwhelm them. I just want to be able to acknowledge who they are, give some words and an explanation to what is present, and then depending on what they are open to and what feels safe for them, because this is a really important one for me, that people feel safe, I can go into more detail. They can come back for another reading. If they want to go into more detail of specific numbers, they can. And then there's the classes as well. And, my classes are, I don't want to say a free for all, but like I'll show up and there's specific things that I teach, but every class that I teach, half is a transmission, the other half is whatever my students want, whatever questions they want to ask, whatever they want to dive into. And I'm always open to teach specific classes based on questions that they have or themes or subjects they want to go into more detail. And, I teach the courses as well. So it's like I do my best to give an acknowledgement and an affirmation of who they are and a kind of snapshot in an hour or 90 minutes or however long a reading someone wants. They can come back, and people do one-on-one if they want to dive more deeply one-on-one. And then if they want to investigate more in a classroom environment, they can come to my Zoom classes, my courses, and then I'm about to launch in-person classes finally here as well. So, because for me, it's more about the journey that we go on with the numbers, and it's really about the embodiment. So I'm here to help and support people be who they came here to be. I'm here to support everyone, whoever they are, wherever they're from, whatever their magic is. But I'm also here, and this was a directive from Pythagoras early on, to be of extra special support to those of us that are star elders and those of us that have master numbers in our blueprint or have very strong connections to the master numbers.
Amazing. What a talent and what a service, to be there to support this beautiful, sort of transitioning as we go into the golden age of Aquarius, which is so needed. It reminds me when you're speaking of this the system of color therapy that I work with, the color mirrors, because that's kind of divided into two sets of 36 bottles, the old earth and the new earth. And of course, the frequencies of the colors within the new earth aspects and the numerology of them is also evolved, Um, so, I can see how, we need the support, for the old earth and also the new earth as we move into it as well. Now, you said something very interesting right at the beginning as well, and that was that, the numbers can reveal more about your galactic origins. For example, someone with a dominant seven, for example, may have that connection with Atlantis, maybe the Pleiades. How does it work for you? Like, how do you use the numbers as informational tools to be able to reveal someone's galactic heritage or their origins?
So again, this is all like level 2 teachings, and it's interesting because up until now, I haven't really spoken about much of this publicly. But I feel like in this now moment, I'm gonna disclose some of this.
Hey,
Um,
well, don't worry, I'll
so
understand.
it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, for me, quite early on, so probably around 2015, and all of this happened when I moved from Sydney in the Northern Beaches up to the Byron Shire of Australia. Um, and I was staying in Mullumbimby. So Mullumbimby is a 44 frequency when you decode it numerologically. Yeah, and a lot of my teachings are connected to the numerology of places and addresses. And again, I teach about this in level 1 and level 2, but I find it really important to know the numerology of our address and where we live. And what I found over the last, again, like 12 years or so, 13 years even, that there's a schooling that happens and there are experiences that happen connected to the themes of the numerology of where we live. And so Mullumbimby has always been a very activational place for me whenever I've lived there. It's also on a very, very powerful energy line that connects Byron Bay and Cape Byron with Mount Wollumbin here. And that, Mullumbimby is kind of the equidistant point between those two locations. So and it's also very close by to a very, very, very sacred original indigenous site as well. So for me, one night I was woken up in the early hours of the morning, and my higher self, or Pythagoras higher guidance, was guiding me to start looking at YouTube and watching videos connected to different star beings, star systems, like locations in the cosmos. And in my third eye, I was being shown numbers that connected with those places. So, yeah, Polaris, I connect with the number 1. The 2, I connect with Cygnus. And, it can be Perseus as well, because I connect the 2 with the horse and the swan. 3, I connect with Lyra. 4, I connect with Sirius. 5 doesn't have a location. It's amorphous. It doesn't, because the 5 doesn't like to be limited in any way, shape, or form. And it was interesting because students and clients kept asking me for a long time. I was just waiting for the location of the 5 to drop in, and it never did. And I was like, it doesn't have a location, which is perfect for the 5. The 6, I connect with Arcturus. The 7, the Pleiades. 8, Orion. 9, Vega. 11, Andromeda. 22, Alpha Centauri. 33, Delphinius. And 44, Gaia, which isn't a star or a star system or a galaxy. For me, it is a multi-dimensional space in the cosmos, and home to Earth, so to speak. There are a lot of people that call Earth Gaia, and Pythagoras and Gaia tell me very clearly that Earth is not Gaia. Gaia is Gaia. Gaia is mother to Earth. So, these are, and it's funny because it's the women that hold the 44s that have sat in my class or I have given readings to that have given me that validation and that affirmation and that confirmation. I haven't been given locations connected to master numbers above 55. Well, I know that the 55 is the Merkaba, but I haven't. Oh no, the 77 I connect with Alcyone, which is the great central sun, which is the brightest star in the Pleiades star cluster. But I haven't been given yet anywhere for 66, 88, or 99. And I feel like I get given more information as I advance. So I don't kind of tie myself in knots. And when people ask me questions, sometimes it might be a new question and information comes in and I share it. And then sometimes there isn't an answer and I'm like, I don't have that information yet. So yeah. And then in terms of like how I connect those numbers and those locations to our starseed origins. So life path, that is connected to the place that we spent time before we came to Earth, in the same way that it might be the place that we spent time before where we're living now on Earth. So like for me, England, I was born in England and I spent time in England, but now I live in Australia. And it's the same cosmically. And the themes of our life path are connected to what we're here to master in this lifetime, but we will have already had some experiences connected to those themes off Earth to kind of semi-prepare us, if that makes sense. That's my understanding. Our expression number is connected to the location in the cosmos where we received our gifts that we brought to Earth. Our heart's desire and soul's urge, that number is connected to our soul's origin in the kind of in our known local kind of galaxy or universe, if that makes sense. Our personality number is connected to like where our soul was born, because obviously we can be conceived somewhere on Earth and be born somewhere different. And I'm told it's the same thing with our soul. And then our divine soul's purpose number is actually connected to where we're headed when we leave, and kind of what we experience here on Earth and what we master here on Earth and our service here on Earth is actually connected to where we're being of service to, and then potentially like where we're headed, if that makes sense, afterwards. So like I'm a 7 divine soul's purpose. So I'm in service to the Pleiades and the Pleiadians in collaboration with them. And I know that when I leave here, I will definitely kind of check back in with them, and they'll be like, oh, thanks for learning cosmic numerology, and thanks for teaching what you taught, and da 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 da. But again, like when we change our names, we bring another blueprint in. And so I know that if I do have to change my name, there'll be this additional blueprint that will come in for me in this lifetime. And then, there's likely to be a different set of numbers and an additional purpose. And for some of us, we do have multiple purposes that are running. We might have our birth name blueprint and purpose, and then our current full name a current full name blueprint, if that makes sense. And then there's our known name blueprint as well, which I've recently been starting to do work with, probably since about 2023. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, there's a lot of information there that I just want to
Yes.
unpack a little bit, if that's okay. It's
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
exciting because what I love about what you're teaching is that it's so unique, and it feels divinely ordained, like the wisdom that's been coming in through you from the Pleiades. Like I can feel that coming from you. I think that's why we aligned with the number 7 and the Pleiades at the beginning, because I feel the 7 and the Pleiades connection myself. I can just feel it. It's very Neptunian. But I also was intrigued what you said about Andromeda being 11, because I've always
Mhm.
associated the 9 with Andromeda,
Mhm.
specifically because I'm part of my awakening. It always happens in the early hours of the morning, doesn't it? Have you
Mhm.
noticed?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had no clue, and I just heard this voice in my head going Andromeda, when I was
Mhm.
asking, well, where am I from, and
Mhm.
I'd never even heard the word before. And of course, as a life path 9 myself, I was like, okay, so some of the research that I've done, it's like there's a big connection with Andromeda and the ninth dimension.
Mhm.
So I don't know, maybe it was an assumption, that I had, that the 9 aligns with Andromeda. But I'm quite excited that it holds the master 11 vibration as well, to be
Mhm.
fair, because I don't
Mhm.
have a master number within my numerology. I'm one of
Mhm.
those that doesn't have one of those. Well, from the calculations that I've done, you might disagree, but um,
Mhm.
does that mean that the vibration of Andromeda then, is specifically designed around being the guide for humanity?
So for me, the way that I would explain like the difference between the 9 and the 11, and between like Vega frequency and the Andromedan frequency, is that the 9 is connected to Earth and the mortal realm and our earthly experience, even though my belief is that we're all starseeds, all of us. Um, And so the 9 is connected to humanity, and the 9 is connected to unconditional love and kindness and compassion. And it's very much connected to, you know, and those of us that hold 9s in our birth blueprint, we're here to help people remember that we are one big human family, and to be kind to one another and to be unconditionally loving to one another. Where Andromeda comes in, and where the Andromedans come in, is that they hold um, let me just try and find the right human words. Hang on. The 11 is connected to peace. And for me, the Andromedans are ambassadors of peace. And the 11 2 is connected to the frequencies of the 2 and the 1. So 1 is sovereignty, and way showing and guiding. And the 2 is peace and calm and balance. But the 11 is connected to like the embodiment of that from a higher level of consciousness above and beyond our earthly mortal realm and dimension. And so for me, the frequencies and the themes of Andromeda, and this is the thing, this is where I'm always really, it's so important I express it to my students. Just because someone doesn't have a master number in their blueprint doesn't mean to say they can't have a connection to it. And also, for some of us, the name that we were given at birth isn't our, perhaps is the name that we were given, but perhaps it's not the highest aligned name. This is why sometimes people change their names, or they get married, or they channel names, etc. And also for me, I have also come into contact with some people that don't hold master numbers in their blueprint, but they have done so much work on themselves that they're already vibrating at master number frequencies, but it's just not in their blueprint. So they're actually above and beyond the blueprint that they were born with, if that makes sense. And I guess it's the same as like, you know, a 10-year-old who's nailed their ABC and they're great at math, like they're nailing whatever level of schooling they're at, but they're reading heaps of books, or they're practicing piano like a nutter, or, you know, and they're just becoming more advanced than their peers, if that makes sense. And so coming back to the 11 and Andromeda, and really where we're going and where we're headed, my feeling is that more and more of us are going to be embodying or moving in the direction of embodying master number mastery, because the master number is our multidimensional self and our multidimensional nature. Now, it's not for everyone. There are some people that have just come here to have a really, really 3D human, mortal, Bobby Basic experience. That's the multi-dimensional Blu-ray that they put in the Blu-ray player, or the cassette that they put in the holographic computer game for, you know, life on Earth. But there are some of us that really, really, really want to have that multi-dimensional experience. And that's where the master numbers come in. And this is where the 11 is a really important frequency, and where the Andromedan energy is very important, because for me, the Andromedan frequency is the beginnings of the remembrance that we're not human. None of us are human, and that we are all starseeds, all of us. We're all cosmic beings. Some of us have come here to have a more earthly human experience, and they wouldn't even be interested in this conversation. Like my dad, for example. My dad in this lifetime has no interest in any of this, and that's all good. But there are some of us that really want to play that multidimensional game, and we've come here for it. And so the 11 frequency, and for me, those of us that hold Andromedan frequencies, I'm an 11-2 personality. I'm here to embody it. I'm here, like, for me, I am here to embody Andromedanism. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is a high frequency. It's very activational. It can be triggering. It can be illuminatory. It can awaken all the things that are connected to the 11. And the highest purpose of the Andromedans and the 11 are multidimensional cosmic peacekeeping from a sovereign place. So whilst the 9 is all about humanitarianism and making sure that we're all loving and caring for one another as humans and honoring our human nature, the Andromedans and the 11 frequency come in and go, you're not human. You're not human. Like, great that you're all loving one another as humans, but you're not human. The 11 then invites us to go on the journey to the 99, which is unconditional love of all souls and all beings across all time, space, and dimensions, no matter where they're from, how they present, what they've done, what they haven't done, what they believe. if that makes sense.
I love it. Absolutely. No, that makes perfect sense. Thank you so much for explaining that to me so well. Like, I really like the pennies was dropping as you were saying all of that, and yeah, it makes perfect sense. Because it is, um, it's a big mission. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm doing certain things that I'm doing. Like for example, I literally. By the way, my dad has no interest in what I do either. Like I sent him a copy of my book, like this is the Starseed Ascension Guide, and he got it, and it's just sitting there. I think he lives in Suffolk. He just sits there on his coffee table, and they're like, "Oh, my son wrote a book, but I don't really know what it's all about." And then this Cosmic Family Oracle cards as well, which came through me within about 3 to 4 months, and it's a numerology color therapy based Galactic Federation of Light deck of cards, which introduces 7 different galactic races, archangels, and ascended masters. And it was such a huge sort of journey into understanding the connection of numbers, galactic origins, archetypes, and the frequencies of light. So everything that you're saying to me actually is just it feels like it's completely resonating, like when you hear the truth, you just feel it in your heart. So the channelings I think that you're receiving from Pythagoras, in my opinion at least, yeah, is very, very spot on. And I feel like this information is what humanity is actually really waiting for, because you can't get it from anywhere else. You don't really get it from, well, you can get bits from astrology by the position of your sun in your astrological natal chart and where that's conjunct or opposite. But when we combine astrology and numerology with frequencies of color, light, and sound, and really delve into the feeling behind all of that, whoa, we can, you know, we can really tap into our cosmic lineage and authenticate our purpose as well. Now, you talk about your power name activation, process, and I feel that that's fascinating. So, how can changing or activating a name transform someone's frequency and life path?
So that is a great question. I'm going to pause because there's just one additional thing that I want to mention based on what you were sharing. And that is one thing that I've noticed, especially by looking at my own family's numerology, but also the numerology of like the parents of some of my clients and some of my students, which can go some way to answering the question, that you were positing. You were like, I don't have any master numbers in my blueprint, and I don't understand, like that doesn't make sense. Some of us are surrogating for our parents. And some of us may have been born to parents that have master numbers in their blueprint, or we might have even had grandparents that have master numbers in their blueprint, and they never embodied the mastery of that. And because some of us have awoken, doing work on ourselves, we are then actually starting to surrogate and take on and embody some of the mastery or the gifts or the role or the purpose of our parents or our ancestors that's connected to our blood lineage and our soul's lineage, but that for whatever reason their human just hasn't been up for in that lifetime. And it's interesting because both of my grandfathers on either side, I've never shared this publicly before, but they both came through to tell me that. Because I've had a lot of synchronicities with white lions, and I connect the white lions with the 88 frequency. I don't have an 8 or an 88 in my blueprint. And there is someone in my family that I'm very close to that has an 88 in their blueprint. And both of my grandfathers were 88 expressions. And both of them have said, because we weren't able to embody that mastery, and the other person that you're very close to that holds that number just hasn't stepped up to the mark, it's coming through for you as well. So even though it's not in your blueprint, you have got to a level of mastery as a human to then be receiving the activations, the keys and codes connected to that master number. So I just wanted to share that again for anyone that might be watching who's like, I don't have any master numbers in my birth blueprint, and I'm more cosmic than my family, or I'm more cosmic than da 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 da. Surrogation. And, just the same as there's a woman that can carry babies for other humans, there are some of us that will carry responsibilities or roles or jobs or gifts or purposes. For especially members of a family that just for whatever reason haven't stepped up to the mark. And it's okay. So I just wanted to share that in case that might
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks for saying that. That's great. Yeah, because
help.
it does make sense. Absolutely. If I look back at my mother, day number 22, my gran as well was the one really that had the potential, but she came in way before her time. She's the one that got me into all of, sort of cosmic consciousness to begin with. But I think it was very difficult for those, especially my grandmother's generation to be able to be a way shower because it was like all the restrictions around the Earth grid and the Matrix and, what was allowed to be even spoken about. So, they, I suppose they played their role, for the awakening to then to be passed on to the next generations, I suppose, so we all play our part, don't we?
Yeah, and again, like you said, it really depends on how supported we are, how safe we feel. And this is why, for me, cosmic numerology is so important because I really want to be creating a safe place and offering support for people that really, truly want to be who they came here to be and expand beyond that as well. So, yeah, but coming back to your question, so you
Yeah,
call it,
power name activation and
yeah,
and how this power name activation can transform someone's frequency and life path. And the reason why I suppose I'm asking this is because I've always loved my name. I've always loved it. Hayden Crawford. It just feels right for me. And I
yeah,
doubt, at this point on my timeline that I will change it. Although
yeah.
who knows after this conversation. But yeah, can you explain, how it can catapult you, into the new earth?
Yeah. And feel free to just explain or define what you refer to as a power name, just so that I can kind of acknowledge that with the right context.
Oh, it's just with regards to changing the name into something that's going to be um, more in alignment, I guess, to their life path.
Got it. Okay, okay. So I would refer that I would refer to that as your known name.
Yeah.
Um, so there's your birth name and there's your full birth name, which includes middle names. And then there's your current full name, which again, some people change their name and they even change middle names. And then there would be your known name, which you refer to as power name. So my known name is the same name that I was given at birth, but just doesn't include my middle name. And we were talking about this earlier, and I actually put this in an email to you as well. So my birth name is Katharine, and it's spelt with a K and two A's, Katharine. It's derived from the Greek word katharos, which means pure and clean. Um, and it was a bit of a pain growing up because no one could spell it right. And same with my surname, I was forever having to correct people. And it actually got quite upsetting for me because, really, um, numerologically, the 11 is about being seen and seeing others. And when, when, when someone misspells your name, they're actually not seeing you and they're not actually being present with you and they're not being present with the spelling of your name. So I'm a numerologist, so I care really deeply, and it's part of my job or my role or my service to spell people's names correctly and accurately. And I mean, I'm sure you'll find this as well. People have lots of stories connected to their names. And so for me, I think I was about 12 or 13. One of my friends started abbreviating my name. She just started calling me Kat. And at the time, I was so exhausted with continuous correcting people, or people just, I just stopped bothering after a while. People just spelt my name wrong. I just thought, okay, I'll just, it will be 3 letters. I'll just become Cat with a K. And then the worst that happens is people spell it with a C. But, it's not going to be too hard for other humans. And so I just became Kat Kinnie. And that was my name, Kat Kinnie. And I was Kat Kinnie until about 2014. So until about the age of 34. So I held that name for about 20 years. And what's interesting, I've kind of like forgotten about the numerology of all of that, but I think Kat Kinnie, or something connected to that name, is connected to the 4. And the 4 is about abbreviation and shortening things and efficiency and speed and getting things done quickly. And I think I said this to you before, I just let people edit my name. And in a way, I was allowing myself to be edited because my name, myself was too much. And generally was. And since I moved to Australia in 2011, I've been living here for nearly 14 years. And I had my awakening at the end of 2012. I have been unediting myself. And I have been reclaiming, reforming, re embodying my true, divine, sovereign, authentic, unedited self. I may turn the volume down of my magic or my awesomeness or my light, depending on who I'm around, because I don't want to fry people's systems or freak them out or overwhelm them. And what I've come to learn is that, yeah, there are just certain people that can't receive all of me, all of my magic, all of my light, my knowledge, my wisdom, all of that stuff. It's all good. And numerologically, that's when I connect with the more mortal aspects of the master numbers. So the 2 from the 11, the 4 from the 22. The 2's the horse, the 11's the unicorn. So sometimes I dial it down to just a mortal horse if I'm not around people that believe in unicorns or can handle unicorn magic. But generally, I choose to surround myself with other unicorns or people that believe in unicorns and just want to weave big magic. But coming back to your question, so I'd already been studying and practicing and teaching numerology for a year or so, actually. And I was actually having lunch, I remember it clear as day, with my friend Curtis. And when I met him, he was Kurt. And we were having lunch, and he wanted to be known as Curtis. And I said, okay. So I said, when are you going to change your name on Facebook? Because it still said Kurt. And, I was joking. I was like, because if it's not on Facebook, then it's not real. And he was like, no, 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 like, whatever. And I was like, no, seriously. And he was like, all right, Kat, when are you going to embody your full birth name, Katharine? And I was like, and it was prickly for me because I had actually become used to and accustomed to my name, Kat. And my full name was associated with being in trouble or getting told off. And this is true for a lot of people. And I actually had to do a lot of work on myself to clear the trauma that was connected to my full name, because my full name actually started to become associated with me being in trouble and Kat being not in trouble. So, he kind of pushed a few buttons and put his finger in a few wounds. And, as a numerologist, I started to look into the numerology of it. And I was like, well, if I am going to walk my talk, then I do really need to embody this name. And actually, Australia helped me because so many Australians would be like, oh, it's such a lovely name, Katharine. And even, Australians say my name different to like England or even where I'm from, because some people would say Catherine. I grew up in the West Country, but like, all right, Catherine. It's like, it doesn't have S, and it's so Australia kind of helped me to reclaim my birth name, and it was a special name because there were lots of Catherines in my lineage, and it was given to me specifically, and my parents chose that spelling very deliberately because it's the original traditional spelling of Catherine. And so I just went on a journey with it. And it actually happened to coincide almost with when I left the Northern Beaches and moved up to the Byron Shire. So I left and let Cat go and left it behind. And that email address is still, connected to my past self, I guess. Some people still use it. But I really chose to embody Katharine and Katharine Kinnie coming up here. And the thing that I think numerologically has been hardest for me to really embody is the numerological difference, because I'm fairly sure that Kat Kinnie is a 4 and Katharine Kinnie, as my known name or power name, as you refer to it, is a 77 frequency. Mm. And I was told that if I were to ever write a book or put my name to anything connected to cosmic numerology, I have to use like my first and my last name. And interestingly, I never resonated with my middle name. I've never liked Victoria. It's never felt right. It's always felt a bit weird. And so my expression number in my full birth name is a 3. It totals 120. So 1 plus 2 plus 0 is 3. And that's present because I don't want to say I have the gift of the gab, but like the gifts of the 3 that are connected to my birth name are important for my role and my purpose here, because I've been given, or I have chosen or received amazing communicative gifts to be able to teach and explain cosmic numerology in a way that is easy to understand. And I haven't had any blockages around communicating it. But my known name or my power name expression number is the 775. And that really is the transmission of what cosmic numerology is from a multidimensional perspective. The 3 just helps me give human words and explain it to humans here on Earth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you do such a great job of that as well. Like, I feel like I've learned so much today in just such a short space of time, and I could literally chew the cud with you for hours and hours and hours. So I'm definitely going to invite you back onto a future episode so we can go into soul frequencies and timeline locking and all the other magical gifts that you offer in your courses. So where would you like to come back at some point in the
Oh,
future?
I'd love to. I would love to. Yeah, I could talk about this stuff all day, every day.
I know, me too. I could, I'm just being mindfully aware of the viewer. And like,
Yeah,
they're probably thinking about putting the kettle on and going to make some tea
yeah,
and taking the dogs out for a walk.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
for sure we can explore that again later on down the track. So
yeah.
where can people find you, Katharine?
So cosmicnumerology.com, and cosmic with a K, very importantly, and there's a whole story around that, probably for another day. So yeah, my website, cosmicnumerology.com, and they can find me on Facebook and Instagram, again, Cosmic Numerology with a K. Yeah, you can find me there. I've got groups on Facebook for Cosmic Numerology as well. So
Yeah.
those are the easiest ways for people to find me.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll put all the links then in the description below so people can find you really easily just by clicking the link and then they'll be straight through to you. So thank you so much once again. It has been so insightful. And if you've loved this episode as well, and you're like, oh wow, she's really just opened the floodgates to new information that you've been waiting for your whole lifetime for, then definitely make sure that you head over to the website and don't also forget to subscribe to Dreamtime Academy on YouTube as well, and click the bell for future notifications so that you never miss any of the episodes of the Numerology Show. I'd really appreciate that. Leave a comment as well to Katharine or to myself as well, because it really helps the channel to grow, which would be amazing. So until next time, align with your highest timeline and trust the codes within. See you next time.